Zion and Bryce are two of the more complicated national parks when it comes to lodging because there are so many different towns and different options for you. So in this video, my goal is to simplify this a little bit for you and give you a good basic understanding. My name is Matt with We're in the Rockies, and my wife and I, we've helped over 20,000 people travel to the West using our travel guides and millions more using our videos and our website. I have spent the last week traveling around the area, exploring several different hotels firsthand and talking to hotel and B&B owners individually. So I'm going to share with you some of my best tips here, and then I'm putting all my best tips into my Zion and Bryce travel guides that are available on our website. Let's break this down by talking about Zion first, and then later in the video I'm going to talk about Bryce, and then I'm going to talk about where you can stay if you're visiting both parks. The only place to stay inside Zion National Park is Zion Lodge. Zion Lodge is a historic lodge. It was built in the early 1900s, burned down in the 60s, got rebuilt in the 70s. The only lodging inside the park. Big advantage there is that it's, of course, tucked in the cliffs of Zion National Park. It's in a really, really beautiful area. It's got some food and restaurants there that aren't all that good. One of the advantages is you can drive up Zion Canyon to get to the lodge to park, where nobody else can drive up the canyon pretty much, but people who are staying in the lodge can. So the nice thing about staying there is that you avoid the wait in line at the shuttle at the visitor center. You don't have to deal with that because you're already in the canyon, and you can just hop on the shuttle and head wherever you need to from the lodge there. I don't think there's any Wi-Fi, and there's no cell connection, no microwaves, no TVs. It's pretty basic accommodations, but you are in a really beautiful spot. Okay, now just outside of Zion National Park, right on the border, is a town called Springdale. This is the gateway town to the park, and this has a ton of options. Springdale's a really cute town, actually, and it's all just pretty much located right along Highway 9. In fact, Highway 9 connects Verkin over on the west, and it goes all the way through Zion National Park and connects over to Toquerville or over on the east. All of Highway 9 is going to have a ton of different options for you to stay. So I'm now working my way west on Highway 9 by talking about Springdale, and it has so many options. Zion's visitorship has exploded over the last 20 years, and there are a ton of new hotels that have been built. Like, I scoped out so many places in Springdale, and pretty much all of them are very nice. I don't think you would ever go wrong by staying in Springdale. The problem is the cost. You can expect to pay $400 plus per night at most places. Now, Springdale, I really discovered a few gems, and I talked to some of the owners there. I'm actually going to reserve those for my travel guide because I want my customers who buy that to really have that secret sauce there for where to stay in Springdale. Now, Cheryl and I never stay in Springdale. We always stay farther out because Springdale's just too expensive for us. But I know that a lot of people want to stay there. One of the advantages of staying in Springdale is that you can just walk over and hop on the Springdale shuttle that takes you to Zion National Park, and then hop on that shuttle, which will take you into the park. I did a whole nother video on how to use the Zion shuttle. Make sure to check that out. I'll link it up here or down below when it's available, but make sure to check that one out. That's one of the big advantages of staying in Springdale, and it's one reason why a lot of people like to do that. Otherwise, you're going to be paying for parking in Springdale, so staying in Springdale can save you a little bit of the parking costs. Okay, now let's move out west from Springdale. There are a couple of towns on Highway 9 called Rockville and Verkin. Verkin is named for the Virgin River that runs through Zion and carves it. Both of these towns, what they're going to offer is, Rockville has a lot of cute little B&Bs, and then Verkin has some pretty interesting places. Again, there's a lot of new places being built around there, but these are like glamping type places and kind of unique stays in Verkin. The one that most interested me was Wildflower Resort, and they had teepees and cabins and kind of these unique stays, plus a pool and a commons area, grass, fireplace area, and a little restaurant on site. So I thought that was a pretty cool little spot and pretty affordable for what it is. There's some other glamping places out there that are really expensive, but I thought that was a nice affordable one for families. That's Rockville and Verkin, and those are both about 15 minutes away from the park-ish. And then if we move out to Verkin, Hurricane, and Toquerville. These are three cities that are right next to each other, and they're right at the start of Highway 9. Hurricane looks like hurricane, but it's pronounced hurricane. Basically here, you're looking at chain hotels. There's 3 chain hotels that are right at the mouth of Highway 9, right at the turnoff when you go to Zion, and I think they're all very nice and brand new. We're talking Best Western, La Quinta Inn, and Holiday Inn. I stayed at the La Quinta Inn on this trip, and they're all nice chain hotels. Also, these three towns are going to have a lot of Airbnbs for you. Last time we came, we stayed at an Airbnb in Verkin, and it was nice. Plenty of options there, and those are about a half hour away from the park. Now, if we move another 15 minutes away, we get to St. George, Utah. St. George, Utah is like a big city for around here. It was actually the fastest growing city in the country for like 5 years in a row, and it has a ton of options, of course. Just anything that you could think of is going to be over in St. George with resorts, hotels, you know, B&Bs, all that sort of thing. So you're going to have a ton of options there. And it's the most affordable place to stay of anywhere because there's so many options. So in fact, Cheryl and I usually stay in St. George when we visit Zion because it's just nice and affordable. You can get a place for your family. And then it's about a 45-minute drive to Zion, maybe an hour depending on where in St. George you're staying. Okay, now one more place that's just outside of there that's kind of growing up in popularity a little bit here, and it has a really crazy, strange story to it. This place is called Hildale, Utah. It literally is on the border of Utah. It sits right on the border of Utah. And then Arizona is south of Utah, and there's a town there called Colorado City. These are twin towns, Hildale and Colorado City. They are polygamous towns, okay? So there was polygamous groups that were there, and it's a long story, but they arrested the leader of the polygamous group. He is in prison now, and it has kind of freed up the community. So what is happening is that they are converting and building a lot of new places for lodging for Zion there. And every place has Zion in the name. They know how to do their marketing there. So it's like the Zion Lodge is there, the Zion Glamping. There's a couple things to know about this. First of all, it's in a really, really beautiful setting. You have these cliffs behind you that are a little bit like this, but they're more dramatic and taller. And it's pretty affordable too. It is about the same distance from the park as St. George. So we're talking about an hour away from the park, 45 minutes, something like that. Some of them advertise that they're only 10 miles away from the park. That might be true as the crow flies, but you actually have to drive clear around through Verkin to get there. So plan on about an hour commute if you stay there. Here's the other thing just to be aware of. If you drive through town, it can be a little creepy because what happened was the polygamists would build these huge houses to house their massive families and all the wives and kids. And so the houses are like these crazy weird mansions, but it's like a weird rundown, almost dumpy place, but with big, huge mansions. It's almost a little eerie. There's no hatred on the polygamists here. It's just you need to know what the town is. So it's not even that you need to drive through the town to see any of that. If you're going to stay at some of the lodging, you might go stay there and never even know that you're around polygamists. But if you go to the grocery store, you might see some people in pioneer clothes, and that's kind of the way that all runs down. I think I've said enough about that. It is a place to stay, but just know what you're getting into. Okay, I am now standing just outside of Bryce Canyon National Park, and let's talk about where to stay when you visit Bryce Canyon, and then afterwards I'll talk about where to stay if you want a home base to visit both Zion and Bryce. It's quite a windy day here, so camera might be blowing around a little bit. Bryce Canyon, let's talk about that. Bryce Canyon is a small national park, but it does have a lodge in the park. So just like Zion National Park has the Zion Lodge, Bryce has the Bryce Canyon Lodge. Both of these were built about 100 years ago. And personally, I feel like Zion and Bryce got the short end of the stick when it comes to the lodges. It's not that staying in the lodges would be bad. It's just that they're not these kind of grand, really awesome lodges like you get at a lot of other national parks. However, that would be a nice place to stay. Just know that staying at the Bryce Canyon Lodge, you do not get views of the canyon from the lodge. But it is just a very short walk to the rim of the canyon. So like if you wanted to get up early and watch the sunrise, that would be a nice place to stay. Now, just outside of Bryce Canyon is a place called Bryce Canyon City. This is a very interesting spot here because it is a monopoly company town, legally like a monopoly town. It's really kind of a weird situation here. But what they have is several hotels in here. So the very famous one is called Ruby's Inn. Ruby's Inn was founded by a guy named Reuben Surratt before the national park was started, and he set up a lodge on the rim of Bryce Canyon. And when they created the national park, they bumped him out, built the Bryce Canyon Lodge. So he actually ended up setting up a lodge outside of the park entrance. So Bryce Canyon is a one-way in, one-way out park, and everybody that goes there has to pass through Bryce Canyon City and will drive right by Ruby's Inn. It's so windy that I'm gonna have to hold my tripod down with my foot. Now, Ruby's Inn, I like Ruby's Inn. It's not an old place. It's actually gone through several remodels, some fires, it's burned down and stuff. So it is a very new and nice location, and this is my favorite location to stay when visiting Bryce Canyon. I would recommend it to anybody because it's really the hub of all the action at Bryce Canyon. So they have, you know, restaurants in there, they have camping cabins, teepees, an RV park, a huge gift shop. They even have like a center in there where they'll sell you the National Park Pass. The shuttle stops there and takes people in. They offer several tours that you can sign up for in the lodge. I mean, it's kind of the hub of everything. So I actually like that and would recommend that. However, there are several other hotels in Bryce Canyon City, and guess what? All of them are owned by Ruby's Inn. So behind me here is the next nicest place. Actually, this is probably the nicest place behind me here. And it's a Best Western Plus, but it's owned by Ruby's Inn, and they actually kind of have a joint agreement somehow. And typically we like Best Westerns and Best Western Pluses. So yeah, I would say either of those places. There are a couple of other places that are owned by Ruby's Inn that is in Bryce Canyon City. If you don't want to stay in Bryce Canyon City in the little monopoly town, then you can go down the road here to a town called Tropic. And Tropic has several places that offer little cabins, like they're little one-room cabins, maybe two-room cabins that you can stay in. And Tropic is fine. Tropic is not bad. Like I said, it's about 15 minutes away and probably has some better places to eat than Bryce Canyon City does. Okay, so that's it for Bryce Canyon City. Now let's talk about where to stay if you want to visit both Bryce Canyon and Zion and have a home base. So the first place here is a little town called Cedar City. Cedar City is actually over on I-15 closer to St. George, but because of where it's positioned, because of the way the roads are, it's about equidistant between Zion and Bryce. So it's not a bad little option. Cedar City is a college town. The Southern Utah University is located there. And for a couple of months every summer, they have the Shakespearean Festival there. And so a lot of people come there and watch Shakespeare plays. They go like every night or something like that for a couple of months. And they have a cool little Shakespeare theater there. Cedar City has a lot of chain hotels. You're not going to find any shortage of places to stay in Cedar City for sure. But my favorite place there is called the Big Yellow Inn. It's a B&B. I talked to the owner there, and she is a really nice lady. She's actually from where I'm from, but she moved down south and opened up this B&B and has really enjoyed it. Inside, it's kind of an older Victorian style. There's a lot of books in there. It has just a really cool feel to it. Because so many people go to Cedar City for the Shakespearean Festival, there's a lot of B&Bs there that kind of cater to those people, and so they make it kind of old English style. There are a few other places in Cedar City that are actually really cool, especially one for families that I'm putting in my travel guide. I'm not putting it out here on the video, but Cedar City is not a bad little spot, and it's pretty affordable. Actually, it's very affordable. Okay, the next area to stay is between Zion and Bryce. So this is often referred to as the east side of Zion, and there's some little towns over there called Mount Carmel and Orderville and Glendale. And it's just kind of a whole corridor, canyon type of an area, like a valley, where there's a lot of resorts. So that's what you find over there a lot, is resorts. So great for families. So there's resorts that are going to have a lot of activities for you. Like East Zion Resort has cabins and teepees. It has a pool. They give tours. They have, horseback riding and activities like that for the kids. There's a place called Zion Mountain Resort that has a herd of bison there. And every day they'll take you out among the bison and you can feed the bison. So that's pretty cool. So there's a lot of kind of creative places that are popping up over there on the east side of Zion. And they're probably a little closer to Zion National Park, but also within distance of Bryce Canyon. So that's kind of what you get between Zion and Bryce, a lot of family resorts. Okay, now the last place is called Kanab, Utah. So this is an interesting one that you need to pay attention to. It's so windy right now. Hopefully I can get through this. Okay, so Kanab, Utah has become a nice little hub to stay for people who want to visit 3 national parks: Zion, Bryce, and the north rim of the Grand Canyon. So it's a little far from each of them. It's like an hour to an hour and a half away from each, which is a little more than our liking. But it is nice that it's centrally located among the 3 national parks. Plus, it's about an hour and 15 minutes over to Lake Powell, where Page, Arizona is. There's Antelope Canyon and Horseshoe Bend over there. So it is centrally located to a lot of amazing nature. And One of the nice things about Kanab is that it's pretty affordable. There's a lot of hotels over there. Like there's chain hotels, there's B&Bs, there's resorts, there's RV parks, a lot of options in Kanab. It's a very quiet town for the most part. I mean, it hasn't just exploded yet, so it's not like Springdale near Zion. It's a pretty quiet town, so a lot of people like it for that reason. Personally, I kind of find it far to drive that much every single day to the site that you're going to, but for a lot of people, they would rather do that and have the home base. I think it's really good for families because of the affordable lodging, the various options that you have for the lodging, the fact that you're not moving your family every day, and then there's also a lot of off-roading tour companies, so there's a lot of fun that you can have that way, and you can go over to Coral Pink Sand Dune State Park and slide down the sand dunes, so it's just a fun family place. Now, here's the really important thing to know. The north rim of the Grand Canyon is only open from May 15th to October 15th. So if you're visiting outside of that time period, I'm not sure that Kanab is actually that great of a home base because it's kind of far to Zion and Bryce compared to, say, Zion's east side where there's all those resorts. That's something that's really important to know, but if the north rim is open, that is a really cool place that's just centrally located to so much incredible nature. I hope this video was really helpful for you. If you're visiting Zion and Bryce, I have a Bryce Canyon playlist here and I have a Zion National Park playlist here for you to watch. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, go west, young traveler.